everyone, welcome back to MB's Hamsters, and am really in the YouTube video making mood today, so I am going to be making this video. I don't know if it's going to be up tomorrow or today, the same video as how to convince your parents for a hamster. I will try to leave that up in the iCards. The iCards are a little bit weird lately, so I'm sorry about that, but if I can, I will put it up in the iCards. So I thought today I would be reviewing PetSmart's guide for owning a hamster. So where I live, PetSmart is a very large chain pet store that does unfortunately sell hamsters and other small rodents. I do not support pet mills or purchasing your animals from the pet store, but PetSmart came out with a care guide. This is a new care guide. They did have a couple before this, and I want to see how different this one is from the other ones that I got when I got my hamster Angel. I haven't really looked at their care guides in a long time, so this one, it says getting to know your Syrian and dwarf hamsters, and it is by PetSmart, developed and approved by PetSmart veterinarians. If you are selling hamsters from hamster mills, apparently it's approved by veterinarians. I don't think that's true personally, because a lot of hamsters that you get from PetSmart end up getting sick or have some sort of disability. So somehow I don't believe that it's approved by vets, but let's take a look at what's inside this care guide. Energetic and athletic hamsters, experience level, beginner. So, I am not sure about this, for if you are having proper care for your hamster. They are a lot of money and a lot of work if you are doing the proper care. So, beginner, I guess maybe you could have a hamster as a first-time pet. You just have to be very dedicated to owning them and caring for them. So if you are looking for a hamster as a beginner pet, I would definitely recommend doing your research beforehand, as you should any other pet. Size, dwarf hamsters grow up to 3 to 4 inches, 8 to 10 centimeters, and Syrian hamsters grow up to 5 to 7 inches, 13 to 18 centimeters. So that is pretty accurate. So, yeah, that is accurate. Lifespan. On average, they live 2 years, which that is true. Hamsters generally live 1.5 to 2 years. If you are purchasing one from PetSmart, they probably won't live longer than 2 years. It's a little bit uncommon, but just because of their genetics and stuff. But yes, average lifespan 2 years. That's generally correct. Behavior: hamsters are nocturnal and love running on their hamster wheels at night. So yes, this is true. Angel and all of my other hamsters love running on their Carolina Storm Express wheels or flying saucers or whatever. They love running on their wheels at night, so that is true. Diet. Hamsters are herbivores. Hamsters are omnivores. They are not herbivores. That is a huge myth with hamsters. They are not herbivores. If you fed your hamster just a herbivore diet, they would die from lack of nutrition. So hamsters are omnivores. They eat lettuce as well as chicken and mealworms and crickets. They eat that as well as vegetables and fruits. So no, hamsters are not herbivores. They are omnivores. They eat seeds, animal protein, and veggies. So that is a huge stereotype. Hamsters are not herbivores. They are omnivores. Social. Syrian hamsters can learn to enjoy human interaction, but they should be housed alone to avoid fighting as they mature. So yes, that is true. Syrian hamsters are strictly solitary animals. You should never house a Syrian hamster with another Syrian hamster. Dwarf hamsters can be friendly and social if raised together, but only same-gender pairs and should be housed together. This is a super debated topic. I have a video on if dwarf hamsters can be kept together, in my opinion, but basically I don't recommend dwarf hamsters being together. There is a huge risk of them fighting, and I don't think it's worth the risk to be housing your dwarf hamsters together. So I don't think it's good that PetSmart is supporting dwarf hamsters being together, because I don't think dwarf hamsters should live together, as this is a very high risk of them fighting. So I don't think that is good, in my opinion. But if you are experienced and you know how to house dwarf hamsters together, then that is good. But if you are unexperienced and you are getting 2 dwarf hamsters, I don't think that is a very good idea, because there is a risk of them fighting. A hamster habitat. There is a picture of a hamster cage that is way too small. So, how do I set up a hamster habitat? Place the habitat in a low humidity area that is cool. Temperature should be between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 18 to 24 degrees Celsius, and out of direct sunlight. Yes, hamsters should not be in direct sunlight because their cage can heat up very quickly, and they don't like the sun being in their face, as they are nocturnal animals. Line habitat with 1 to 2 inches of aspen, pine, or paper bedding. Cedar shavings are not recommended. That is very not true with the pine. Pine is toxic to hamsters, just like cedar. Cedar shavings are part of the softwood family, and as well as pine, and softwood shavings is not safe for hamsters, and you should not have pine, cedar, softwood, or scented beddings in your hamster's cage, as this can cause a respiratory infection. Spot clean the bedding weekly and change completely at least once a month. So that actually is correct. I am very surprised they add that in there. But the one thing is that if you are housing your hamster in a cage this small, as shown in the picture, if you are housing your hamster in a cage like that, cleaning it fully once a month is actually not good for that small of a cage. If you are above the bare minimum, which your cage should be above the bare minimum, but if you are above the bare minimum, then cleaning it once a month is correct. But if you are under the bare minimum, cleaning it once a month, it's going to get very, very dirty very, very quickly, and your poor hamster is going to be living in its own pee, and that is not safe for their health. So the solution to this is obviously getting a bigger habitat for your hamster. So I am glad they added that in there, just because if you do have a large enclosure, that is correct. You should clean it, spot clean weekly, and change it once a month. Adding climbing tubes and an exercise wheel for play and exercise. The wheel, yes, you should have a wheel. And the wheel for Syrians should be at least 8 inches. I personally recommend 10 or over. And for dwarfs, it should be at least 6 inches, but I recommend 8 inches or more. The climbing tubes, they're fine for dwarf hamsters. Tubes are good for dwarf hamsters. They seem to enjoy them. But Syrian hamsters, a lot of them have been found to get stuck in these tubes. So I don't have tubes in my Syrian hamsters' cages. Just because of that reason, they do get stuck very easily. Hide houses will provide your hamster with a private spot. Edible nests will encourage your pet to chew and should be cleaned regularly. So, yes, it is true that you should have hide houses in your hamster's cage. Obviously, they should have somewhere to sleep. In that photo, there doesn't seem to be a house in that photo, so I don't know. There should be a house in that photo, but there isn't. I don't see one. But basically, hide houses are good. Your hamster should have a house of their own for sleeping and hoarding and all that stuff. So they should actually have multiple houses. just because that is better for them to have a hoard and sleep and all that stuff in different houses. Edible houses I actually do not recommend. Edible houses are mostly by the brand Ecotrition Snack Shack, and that brand actually makes the edible houses out of mostly pine bedding, which is not safe because they make it out of pine bedding and honey. So your hamster will smell the honey and try to eat it, and pine bedding, as I said, is toxic, and they could actually ingest pine bedding, and that is very, very unsafe. So please do not get Ecotrition Snack Shacks because they are made of pine bedding and honey. So please don't get that because that is unsafe. So edible houses, no, you shouldn't be using the edible houses by Ecotrition Snack Shack in your cages because it's just very unsafe for them to eat it, and they shouldn't be around pine bedding whatsoever. What should I feed my hamster? 75% pelleted food, 15% vegetables, 5% fruit, and 5% treats. So pelleted food, this is your hamster's everyday main course. Refresh daily and always keep the bowl 3/4 full. That is a lot of food. If you're cleaning out the food every single day and putting 3/4 of the food in your hamster's bowl, that is a lot of food, and your hamster can get very, very obese very, very quickly. So please, I recommend scatter feeding because that is just an easier way to have your hamster interact with their world, and they don't eat as much food because they don't find every single seed. So please don't do that. That is not good every single day, filling it up to 3/4 of the bowl. That's a lot of food, and that is not good for your hamster, and that is not recommended by professional hamster care people. 15% vegetables, dark leafy veggies served every other day. Nope, make sure to remove the vegetables after a few hours daily. So yes, that is pretty good. They don't say anything about bell peppers and corn and all the other vegetables that are safe. You don't just have to feed your hamster dark leafy greens. There are a lot of other options such as carrots and cauliflower and all this stuff that isn't a dark leafy green that is very good for your hamster. So I don't know why they just recommend dark leafy greens, but hamsters can have other veggies as well. 5% treats, offer the treats twice a week. It depends on your treats twice a week. If you are feeding yogurt drops, those should only be fed once a week because they are very, very sugary and not that healthy. I don't use yogurt drops with my hamsters because I just find them unsafe and they're not necessary, so I don't feed them to my hamsters. But if your treat is a sunflower seed or a Gerber puff, you can feed these more than twice a week because they are very, very low in sugar and safe for your hamster. So that really depends on what treats you are getting. Fruit, apples, bananas, and melons are a once a week treat. Note, make sure to remove the fruit after a few hours daily. I'm not sure about this one. I think definitely once a week you should be feeding fruit once a week because that is good for their sugar. Their fruit is generally very sugary, so that is pretty good. But the fact that they just mention apples, bananas, and melons is a little bit weird to me because they can have strawberries, they can have blueberries, they can have all this different stuff besides just apples, bananas, and melons. So I don't know why they just mentioned that, but they can have more than just apples, bananas, and melons. How can I keep my hamster healthy? Contact a small animal veterinarian or speak with the PetSmart associate if you notice the following symptoms. So that is very good that they actually mention that you should have a small animal vet. I don't recommend talking to a PetSmart associate if you see any of these. I really PetSmart isn't super educated on hamsters and they just want to make money. So I think contacting a small animal vet that is very good and you trust them, that is very good. I'm glad they added in the veterinarian part. And all of the things they list as unhealthy for your hamster, that is also true. If your hamster is showing any of these, then you should contact your vet. And then on the back, shopping checklist. What will I need for my hamster? Habitat/pen. Your hamster doesn't need a play pen. I'm not sure about this one. And the size that they recommend, 12 by 12 by 12 inches. That is ridiculous. That is very, very small, and your hamster is not going to be happy whatsoever in a 12 by 12 by 12 inch cage. So definitely go a lot larger than this. This is very ridiculous, and you should not be having your hamster in a 12 by 12 by 12 cage. That is not good. So definitely go a lot bigger than this. 450 square inches is the bare minimum for your hamster, and you should be housing them in something a lot larger than even 450 square inches. So 12 by 12 by 12 inches is ridiculous, and you should not be housing your hamster in that. Multi-level home preferred. Hamsters don't like climbing. They are not climbing animals. As you can see in my example of my hamster's cage, they do not like climbing. My hamster is very happy in this cage, and they don't climb. They are not rats or mice, and they are not good climbers at all. They fall down, and they're not good climbers. So the fact that they mention a multi-level home is a little bit concerning to me, because someone could go out and get a rat cage or a mouse cage for their hamster, and it could be too tall and they could fall off from the bars, because obviously they're going to be climbing the bars because it is most likely too small for your hamster. So I don't think multi-level homes are not preferred for hamsters, and you should not be having your hamster in a multi-level home because they could climb up and fall down. So make sure that your hamster has a large floor space that is above the bare minimum and doesn't have a ton of height for them to climb and fall off. Bedding, you should have bedding, yes. Nesting material. I know they used to have an old care guide that mentioned that the nesting material can be shredded toilet paper or cotton fluff nesting is what they normally recommend. And cotton fluff nesting is so bad for your hamster. They can ingest it, they can choke on it, they can get their limbs stuck in it. So please do not use these cotton fluff nesting material brands, because they are very dangerous and super unsafe for your hamster. An exercise wheel, they don't mention the size, so that's a little bit concerning to me, because someone could just go out and get a 4-inch wheel for their hamster and be like, okay, this is fine, but a 4-inch wheel is not safe for any hamster. So the fact that they don't mention the sizes of the wheel is a little bit concerning. Hide house, food dish, water bottle, hamster food, wood/mineral chew. Wood chews are completely safe, they're good and fine, but mineral chews, hamsters do not need added minerals, so mineral chews are actually not very safe for hamsters, and I do not recommend them. And I think that is it for this care guide. I am pretty disappointed with PetSmart because they could do a lot better, and I had to basically correct almost everything on this list. So, this care guide is not safe for your hamster. Please do not take PetSmart's advice on hamster care, because it is so wrong and not good for your hamster. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video is just for people who got the PetSmart care guide and are going off of it. This is just correcting their care so that they know that they should get a large suitable cage with all of the different, all of the essential needs of their hamster that are not PetSmart recommended, because PetSmart, it does not have a good reputation for hamster care. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye! Wilson! Hey! Hello! Hi! Oh, you want to say hi to the camera? You say hi. Nice sit. No, who's a good boy? Trying to eat my hand. I've got your cow. Who's a good boy? Yeah.